the weaponisation of fear and the cancer of entitlement. First, the weaponisation of fear. Let's just have a look at this video clip, shall we? This video clip was from Australia, the climate change hoax protest of recent times. Let's just have a look.
So can you tell us what it is that you want from our government to secure your future?
We want our government to... We need climate action. We need to be 100% renewable. We need to make sure that we have futures and our kids have futures, because it has always been my dream to start a family, and now I feel like I would be burdening them because they have to live in a society where they might just walk outside in winter and get sunburnt because of how bad climate change is. We want climate action, and we're not going to wait 12 years until we can't do anything. We need it now.
And I just don't understand why no one talks about it. Obviously, now we're having a change, but people are actually voting for people like Scott Morrison, and it's just ridiculous because he's a monster. He's a monster to Australia, and I want Australia to live in a world where we can, to live in a country where we are free from all things of climate change, and it's so stupid. And I just...
Again, the New World Order using their most potent weapon to manipulate and brainwash the next generation of children to suit their own ends. Monopolising and politicising and poisoning the education system for their own ends. Now, these children are being panicked and brainwashed to such a point that they're actually going home and having nightmares about climate change and waking up and saying, you know, Mum and Dad, the world's going to die or whatever, what are we going to do? Now, the destruction, the biggest accomplishment that fear's been able to achieve is the destruction of critical thinking, because if critical thinking was still prevalent, anyone would sit there and think, well, give me one shred of evidence that CO2 has anything to do with climate, let alone man or human beings have anything to do with climate change. Climate goes in cycles, and there is a big star in the sky that has a lot to do with what happens to the climate. That's called the fucking sun, right? And climate goes in cycles, and the reason for the climate going in cycles is the axis of the Earth slightly changes its trajectory and slightly moves its position in relation to the sun. That's why we get usually 30, 40, 50-year cycles in slight change in climate. It's nothing to do with CO2, it's nothing to do with man-made at all, but because they want to institute global carbon taxes, which will be the major phase of instituting worldwide global government, the New World Order's completed mission, and Agenda 21 and Agenda 30, they perpetrate the biggest hoax ever perpetrated on the world public, and that is the climate hoax. We have the first stage of which is fear, and we have the second stage, which is entitlement. And you get this.
You wrote into me. Tell me what you wanted me to get straight with your mom. I want my mom to understand that I can't live off of $1,000 a month, and I grew up on a certain lifestyle. She can't just take that away from me immediately. If someone took her lifestyle away from her, she wouldn't like that. And I grew up on it. It's all I ever know. I can't deal with this. And so I came to you for help.
Okay, so you want me to get her to do what? What would be the home run for you?
I need her to understand that I need at least $2,500 a month. She works all the time. She doesn't do anything for me. She doesn't drive me anywhere. And so other people would have their moms like drive them places, buy them food, make them food, but I have to do everything myself, and I need the funds for that.
So do you do that? When you have the money, are you?
I'm a 15-year-old. I want $2,500 a month. My mum doesn't do anything for me. She doesn't drive me anywhere. She doesn't do anything for me. And as you get a bit older, she doesn't pay my college debt for me. I mean, another thing the New World Order has done, which is destroyed society, and why we've got so many young people thinking Bernie Sanders is cool and everything like this. They're not as dumb as you think. They know socialism is going to destroy the planet and go into bankrupt countries, but they're in such a thought pattern of, I don't care what comes down the line, other people will just have to deal with it, and I want my free stuff now, I want my entitlement now, I want my money now, I want my college paid for now, I want this, I want that, I want credit cards, I want mobile phones, I want to have the age of disgusting entitlement of you just deserve all this because for just existing on the planet, and you don't have to work for it. This was a few years ago. You can bet this young lady's a Democrat, probably a Bernie Sanders voter.
You in there in the kitchen frying up stuff and mixing up batter?
No, I'm buying food.
So you eat out a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I make food at home, but then I get bored of just... I don't like cooking because it just makes a huge mess, and then my mom gets mad at me. And I don't like cleaning up the huge mess and doing the dishes. And then I just don't like eating at home because it's the same boring food.
You say she's out there for you. How do you get to school every day?
I do online school. I don't go to school.
You don't go to school?
I don't go to public school for other reasons.
Why not?
I just got traumatized. I can't get into that right now, but...
You got traumatized?
Yes.
Part of it is why she couldn't keep up with the lifestyle of the other kids in Beverly Hills.
There's other reasons. I'm not just being a brat about that.
But you don't go to school, do you?
I do online school.
Yeah. How's she doing?
She's doing okay. I had to push her a little bit to get some of those grades up, but when she wants to focus on something, she's doing good.
Yeah, and I like it because I can actually focus on it, because I also was behind in public school. I was really behind because it would go so fast, and so now I can actually take my time. So that's nice. And I don't have the pressure that I had at school and everything.
Yeah. So you want a G-Wagon for your 16th birthday?
I need my G-Wagon. There's no question. I need it.
There's no question?
Yeah.
You need that?
Yeah. My mom's buying a Bentley for herself. Why can't I get a G-Wagon?
Why do you need a G-Wagon?
I really want the G-Wagon. My mom to understand that I can't live off of $1,000 a month, and I grew up on a certain lifestyle. She can't just take that away from me immediately.
Sorry about that. Why can't I have a G-Wagon? Because you're a 15-year-old and you're not working, and you're an entitled brat? But the thing is, and then I won't play the rest of the video. She goes crying because she wants a G-Wagon, and I think her mother offered a $100,000 Mercedes, and it wasn't good enough, right? That clip's a few years ago. That used to be an outlier, right? Now it's prevalent. You got a whole generation of these young college kids who expect everything. Expect their student debt paid for. Expect their education for free. Expect their accommodation for free. And I'm going to say something which, I don't know, some of you might not be too happy with, but the fact is, and I'll include my I don't have kids, but I'm just going to say our generation, the millennial generation. I'm millennial by 1 year, unfortunately, but I'm speaking in general terms here. The millennial generation and the X generation of parents, the generation before, are responsible for this because they've allowed televisions to babysit their children. They've allowed the poisonous education system to corrupt their kids, and they haven't kept the check on their teachers, and they haven't kept the check on the principals, and they haven't kept the check on the education system, and as a result, we end up with kids like this, brainwashed, entitled idiots, and also young children that are just corrupted by fear and emotion, and don't have the ability to critical think. That's why we're getting the coronavirus panic that we're getting in Australia at the moment, where you can't buy non-perishable foods because the supermarkets are cleaned out, and you can't buy toilet paper. So Australians, it's just utterly ridiculous. I mean, we've only got 60 cases of coronavirus in Australia, and we've only had 2 deaths, and people are. Of course, it's tragic. I don't mean, you know what I'm saying. Of course these deaths are tragic, but people are reacting like it's the London plague of the 1800s, and they're cleaning out all the supermarkets, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, people are reacting like it's a zombie apocalypse, and of course this panic is festered and beat up by the mainstream media. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do.